Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Hollinger, and I am the Programs Manager for the Petawawa Military Family Resource Center. And we are here once again for our fireside chat. And this week we are talking about employment service, and we have a number of guests with us. Before we go through and introduce these guests, I just want to talk a little bit about the fireside chats. With the PMFRC being closed, we are missing our opportunities to see all of our clients, all of our families that we have come to know and love. So we've decided that this is our weekly opportunity to come to you, to come into your homes and to talk about some of the programs and services that PMFRC still is offering, even though you can't walk through those doors. Each week, we are putting a spotlight on a different group, on a different service, a different program. We're going to ask some of the questions about that and let you know what is still available and how you can still reach these folks, even though you may not be able to drop by and visit. Throughout the call, we may be referencing some different tools. I know for a fact we're going to be referencing some different tools. We're going to be giving you some email addresses, some telephone numbers, and some websites. Don't worry about having to write those down. We have a fabulous team member, Sarah Jane, that you're going to see in the comments. And Sarah Jane is going to be posting those telephone numbers, those comments, giving some links to some Facebook pages, so you'll be able to find them quickly after the call is done. And they'll all be in one place when it is time to go. Just going around the circle, I'm hoping my circle on my screen looks like your circle on the screen. We have Janna Koopman joining us. Janna is an employment coach at PMFRC Employment Service. Christina McFadden is the Employment Service Coordinator. Christina has been with the PMFRC for a number of years. Some of you may remember her in other roles, but right now she is working as our Employment Service Coordinator and doing a fabulous job. Claudia Beswick is our Executive Director. She is joining us every week, and welcome, Claudia. And then we also have with us Hellen Lavric. One of the fabulous things that we like about our fireside chats is it gives us an opportunity to invite some of our community partners to join us. We are doing a lot of work in the community, but there are also so many other people in the Petawawa, Pembroke area that are doing some fabulous things with their doors closed. And we want to give an opportunity to invite those folks onto our fireside chats, talk about some of the things that they're doing and how you can reach them as well. So Hellen Lavric works with the labor market group of Renfrew and Lanark. Claudia, as is the tradition, we are going to start with you. I know that you have coming to dread this question every week, but Claudia, can you tell us about how things are going with the social distancing measures, how things are going with programs, and do you have any news as to when things are going to start moving towards normal again?
So obviously, I'm sure everybody has heard the announcement that we're continuing with the state of emergency until the end of June. So therefore, I don't have any good news to share. Our organization, much like the Garrison and other businesses, are following in line with what the province is doing. So right now, it's very difficult for us to open, and we're going to continue doing what we can, reaching out to our clients through the virtual means. So we're definitely working on a plan for reopening and how that looks, and with all the physical and social distancing requirements that are to take place. I know Employment Services specifically is really pushing to see what they can do to open up the doors for the clients, and we're going to look at that, and we're going to want to make sure that all of the safety measures are in place, not just for the clients coming in, but also for the staff that will be working in the room. So nothing solid right now as to what that plan is, but there is a plan that's going to be reviewed, and rest assured, as soon as that is beneficial and we make sure we have all the safety precautions in place, we will promote it through all of our normal means.
So we will be, when those plans and when those announcements are ready to be made, we will share them on our PMFRC Facebook page. We're going to share them on the PMFRC website, cafconnection.ca/Petawawa, and on the Employment Service website, petawawaemployment.ca. Let's start off, Claudia. Employment Service is a little bit different than some of the other PMFRC programs. Because of our name, people obviously assume that the services are available for military families, and they are, but Employment Service is different in a lot of ways because it is open to the entire community. Can you talk about how that came about and what that means for Employment Service?
I'm not really sure how that came about. That was long before my time, but it has been, the PMFRC has had an agreement with the ministry, with the province of Ontario, since the beginning, to be able to serve all the clients of the Upper Ottawa Valley. So that's Petawawa, Deep River, and Du Riviere. So whether you're military, whether you're civilian, it doesn't really matter. We're here to support all clients in their job search, and plus other opportunities that the team will talk about today. It goes without saying that our partnerships are really key to our organization. It strengthens our ability to better support the clients in a variety of different ways. And it definitely creates a much stronger workplace for the team as well, because they expand on their collaboration and their networking with the employers as well. So our employment team works exceptionally well at balancing what the realities are for both military and civilian clients, and what that means. They have an in-depth understanding of our local labor market and what that means for them specifically. So it is really what makes our employment services team so successful, and also the PMFRC, because they are under the PMFRC umbrella and working with both the military and civilian community. They're different and unique in their own way, and it takes different skill sets, and they are famous at doing both and supporting both the clientele. The focus for the team is engagement at all levels. So collaborating with the ministry, collaborating with the clients, with the departments, with other community resources, and with the local employers. It really is a dynamic team with a very diverse skill set. And we're just very proud of all the work that they're doing with everybody. And especially given this, the COVID reality, it is a bit challenging doing the work from home posture, but it's been amazing, and they're excellent at reaching their targets and trying to do everything they can to support those that are looking for work in the community.
They are definitely missing you. I know that some of them are people, and that missing that human contact has been tough on a lot of folks. But I know in particular the folks in Employment Service have been missing you all. Helen, I'm going to turn to you, and I think before we start, I just want to ask you, what is the Labor Market Group, and what do you do in the community?
Thanks for having me. The Labor Market Group is a community organization that is funded by the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And what we do is we work collaboratively with the entire community, and that includes job seekers, employers, our partner agencies like Employment Services, like our LBS agencies or Literacy and Basic Skills, educators, local economic development officers, and we all work together to come up with innovative workforce solutions. So we want to really work at getting our local workforce to grow and to bring them into the jobs that are available out there. So it might be surprising to know, but there are more jobs than people, even during this time.
Well, I think that's a good link to my next question, because I think that we all sort of have in our heads the reality of how life has changed since COVID and social distancing. And can you talk a little bit about how this situation, how the changes have affected the labor market in this area? Because I know that you've released some information and people have some ideas in their head, but from what you've seen and through your partnerships, what can you tell us about how things have maybe changed because of the COVID situation and where we stand now?
Well, I'm sure everybody can imagine that the actual number of postings has dropped. We have a 15.4% drop in the number of job postings just from last quarter. So we all work in a fiscal year. So we start April 1st, we go to March 31st. So between January and end of March, we had a certain number of jobs, and now we have 15.4% less. This time last year, we're down 11.4. So we can see that the number of jobs being posted obviously has gone down because there are no workplaces to go to. That makes a lot of sense. But we do have some statistics as to who is putting out the greatest number of job ads. And so I can share that with you if you'd like.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, some of the statistics that I brought up was, we got this yesterday, and the highest number of postings by employer, you can imagine a lot of it is retail and healthcare. So Walmart, of course, had the highest with 37 job postings over the last little while. Bayshore Healthcare, which employs a lot of PSWs, so personal support workers. Pembroke Hospital and Home Depot tied for third in terms of the number of jobs. They posted 24 jobs during this time. So the top 3 occupations, the actual jobs themselves, we have the highest number of jobs is 42 job ads were placed for home support, housekeepers, personal support workers, that type of job. Secondly, there were nurses, makes a lot of sense. And thirdly, believe it or not, cooks. So
there are opportunities that are out there for sure.
Yeah, they've changed a bit, and there will continue to be opportunities, but you know, there's always a silver lining to things like this happening, and you can see our community coming together. One of the messages that I wanted to send to job seekers is that there's an entire service community there waiting to help you. And I think that connecting with your local employment service agency is a great step for you to take. They're going to have, I mean, I can bring you stats on what we see posted and how we gather that information. But what most people don't know is employment agencies work very closely with the local community and employers. They might have jobs listed that are not publicly published. So it's really, really important to get out there in your community and avail yourself of those services. I think it's really important.
Hellen, you are segueing on me right into like the next part of this session. Christina, just picking up on what Hellen said, there are opportunities there and you should go see your employment service office. What can you do? What can you do for people once they get there?
Well, we are here to help our clients find the job they're looking for. So our job is to match whatever clients are looking for with what the labor market has to offer right now. We can also help you advance your career, look at a career change and help you with that. Our services are always free, bilingual and confidential. And like Claudia mentioned earlier, we serve the whole community between Petawawa and Deux Rivières. That includes Chalk River, Deep River. We do have an office in Deep River as well. Unfortunately, both offices are closed right now, but all of our staff are still working remotely and we're still supporting our clients in all of that. Because we are a service delivery site for Employment Ontario, we're really lucky because we have access to different tools and programs and incentives that Employment Ontario offers to all Ontario residents. So some examples could be just resume and cover letter work. That is probably one of the things we do the most, and we can help you with that via email or Zoom, Skype. We use whatever works for you. One-on-one career coaching, and I'm glad Janna is here. She can talk a little bit about that later. Interview preparation, that looks a little bit different these days because we're not necessarily meeting people in person as much. We still have workshops available online. We have a virtual job board. So some of these positions that, all of these positions that Hellen mentioned will be posted or are posted on the virtual job board. Employers can post them directly or they can contact us to get access to it. We help you find your way in education, maybe with academic upgrading or looking into colleges, universities. Second Career is one of the programs we can help you work your way through. And then obviously we support the employers in their hiring needs. And that is also, that looks a bit different these days, but we're still doing the same things we always do. Just we found new ways to support our community.
Because I was thinking as Hellen was talking, that she's talking about there's different organizations and different jobs and different industries that are really looking for people right now. And there might be somebody at home who's thinking, you know what, that's something I've always sort of thought in the back of my mind. I'd love to get into the healthcare field, or I'd love to become a cook. And they could come to you, presume, and talk about, you know, what the steps are, how to get there. Maybe you could give them some options about how they could, I think that, and I really don't really like this word because everyone's using it right now. They can make that kind of pivot into a new area and those steps that they can take. Janna, you work a lot of with people one-on-one. Is this the kind of thing that an employment coach does? What kind of service can you provide in that one-on-one relationship that might be different than maybe going to a website or sort of watching a workshop online?
Well, we're mandated to provide individualized service, and then we're also mandated to help the client reach their goals in as few and most appropriate steps as possible. So that's really nice when a client comes in, because my goal is to figure out what they need and then help them reach that goal. And that's why we use the word coach as well, because essentially what I'm trying to do is link them with the resources and give them the information that they need in order to be successful, because I can't go to work with them, so I can get them ready to get to that point, right? So that's where the coaching comes from. A lot of it is conversation, trying to figure out what motivates the client, what they're looking for, and then educating them about the local labor market, about what's going on with employers, what they're looking for. So knowing what employers are looking for can help us build an appropriate resume and job applications. It can also help us contact an employer directly and say, hey, I have a candidate that I know would fit what you're looking for and what your business is looking for in employees. I think that he or she might be a good fit. So often we'll communicate directly with HR people for that reason too. So that's something that your average job seeker might not be able to access, that we can help with. And then also, as Christina said, we have programs through Employment Ontario that we can access. One of those big ones that most people have heard about is the Second Career Program. So if you were to access that or want to access it, you would have to go through an office like ours to figure out if you're eligible and suitable, and to figure out which educational option would be the right choice for you. So that can be a long process. Often we'll see clients, usually it's at least twice. Sometimes all people need is a little bit of direction and a resume tweak. But often we'll see job seekers who need more than that. So we'll see them, usually it's a weekly or bi-weekly basis. The appointments are about an hour. And then we also do lots of email and lots of phone conversations as well, which of course we're doing mostly right now, as well as these Zoom meetings so that we can look at faces. But yeah, it depends on the needs of the clients. So we talk about educational options, whether they want to go to college, what that looks like, what paying for that might look like, what the long-term labor market prospects for that industry might look like, so that people can make educated decisions about where they're going to spend their time and money and trying to reach their ultimate goals. And we help everybody who, I mean, it's a perk of being a resident of Ontario. The ministry considers unemployed to be anybody working under 20 hours a week. So we often help people with part-time jobs. We'll also help people who have a layoff coming up, so they know they're going to be unemployed, and it's not very responsible, you know, necessarily to wait for your layoff date and then start looking then. Lots of people are proactive. So they want to get their resume ready. They want to work with a coach before their layoff date. So we often help a lot of people with the one-on-one services in that situation as well.
I love what you're talking about and doing in the fewest steps possible. I said, because there's so many programs that are out there. We hear that there are programs out there, but people don't necessarily know where to start. You can save them so much time because you know what programs are there. You've worked with employment for a long time, so you would know what kind of programs they would be eligible, and maybe might be able to put them onto something they had no idea existed in the first place. That's going to make all of the difference. You talked about the fact that you're still doing this by telephone and by Zoom. So if you are not a client of Employment Service and you are interested in one-on-one coaching, how could someone go about get a one-on-one coach if they can't go to your office? Can you give us a little bit of a buzz on that?
Sure. So yeah, it's, you know, email and phone are the easiest ways to interact with us at this point for that initial contact. But essentially what would happen, and what has been happening, is that people will contact us through the email of es-program@pmfrc.org, or our regular phone number, 613-687-1717. And they'll get directed to Gord, our front desk person at the Petawawa office. And then based on that, Gord will connect with us as coaches and say, okay, here's a brief rundown of this new person who's looking for service. Can you contact them? And then we work based on how the client prefers to be contacted, giving all the options that are available. Some people don't really know how to use Zoom or the Skype for calls, so sometimes we work up to that. But yeah, based on how they would like to be contacted. And then accessing these government programs, there is a registration form, and we have those documents, and we open a file on the people that we work with who are unemployed. So we can show the government and the taxpayer that we're using their money responsibly. So we still do that sort of stuff through email and printing it off. And we do have a mailbox that people can fill or drop off printed documents to as well. And if they don't have a printer and they can't figure out how to do that, we've actually done it with taking a picture of the document and then sending it that way with their phone. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to connect, because we know that there are a bunch of job seekers out there who really could use support, and we can offer it.
So if you're interested, Janna gave the telephone number for Gordon, his email address, and that's going to show up in the comments either above us or below us, depending on what kind of a screen or what format. But check the comments; we're going to find it there. Christina, just picking up on what Janna was talking about, some of the different things that are happening. I know that life is a little bit different. Some people might be doing. Keep talking about one-on-one, but one-on-one looks a little bit different, and maybe there are people who are even doing job interviews in this kind of new format. What kind of services is ES still able to provide, even though we're not able to meet in person? I know you've got some virtual stuff going on. Do you want to sort of talk about that?
Sure, yeah. So like Janna mentioned, we are trying to use the most common communication channels, such as phone, email, Skype, and Zoom. They're the most popular ones right now. Most people are able to work with that. If not, we work up to getting there. We do have a website, PetawawaEmployment.ca. I believe it's in the comments as well. So you'll find a lot down there. Yep. You'll find a lot of information on there. Our email addresses, our phone number, and most importantly, the virtual job board. So if you want to just kind of browse and look at the jobs without us directly supporting you, you can just go on the website and also use our services without the direct interaction. We have a weekly employment cafe. It's on Tuesday mornings with Stephanie. So if you're interested in that, you can register for it. And we talk about different employment issues. You can use it for networking, which is also an important part of the job search, which right now it's a bit harder with social distancing. So virtual employment cafe it is. Every Wednesday afternoon, we have a virtual office hour. So it's kind of like walking through the door, except you're using Zoom to walk through the door, and you can just ask a question or just call 613-687-1717. That's the easiest, fastest way. Next week, we're actually offering a workshop on ACO virtual job interview, and Janna is going to be facilitating it together with Isabel. It's a little bit about how do you make your great first impression without being able to have this handshake, this most famous handshake. So how can you adjust to the current labor market and how job search works during COVID and what may be the new norm? So you can register for that also by emailing Gord. We try to keep it very simple, and that is usually the initial contact, and then we'll take it from there. Yeah, so check out the website if you're unsure, check out the comments, email Gord, and we'll help you find what you need.
I've said this on a number of other sessions, and I think it applies equally here. If you are not sure, if you have a question and you don't know who to ask, we would way prefer that you call us and us help you find the right person than sit there and not ask the question. Please don't be shy. Don't think that you can't reach out to us by phone or by email because you're not sure if we can help. If we can't, we will find the person for you and we will hand you off and make sure that you get the service you need. We're not going to sort of say, sorry, it's not us. Call us. We would love to see what we can do for you. So please don't be shy. One more thing I want to pick up on before I do a quick roundtable, Christina. You talked about the fact that you can also provide some assistance for employers. What can you do for an employer who might be looking for someone right at this point?
Absolutely. So one of the quick and easy ways is to access our virtual job board. Any employer can go on PetawawaEmployment.ca and just post a job or email us and we post the job for you. But we can do much more than that. Our job is to bridge the gap between the job seekers and what our local employers are looking for, and we can help with job matching. So we can take some of the work off your shoulders and help you find the best candidates for the positions that you have right now. We can collect and screen resumes for you. You can send us an email and we can discuss some details. We also offer training resources. There's a workshop that you can access for free. Everything is free. And then there are some training incentives. And if you have any questions, just email Gord or give us a call. It's the same contact info for our local employers as well.
Thank you. While we have all of you here, and this seems like a perfect time not to let this expertise go to waste, I'm going to go around and I want to ask each of you, what would be your best advice for someone who is either looking for a new job or maybe considering a change in this climate? They're sort of looking at where their jobs are right now. They're looking at sort of how their circumstances are, and they're thinking maybe it's time to try something different. What's your best advice for someone who might be in that situation? I'm going to start with you, Hellen. What would you say to someone?
Avail yourself of the services that are available. I think that a lot of people are afraid to just even walk in the door. You don't have to have your resume ready. You don't have to have any idea what you're looking for. It is a simple open the virtual door and walk in. We're there to help. It's a free service, and we all work together to make sure that you know about all the jobs that are available in the area, the industries that are big out there, even the skills that job seekers should really work on. So, having said that, I just wanted to add that, it comes over and over again that we hear from our employers that they're looking people with great communication skills. So that helps with customer service. It helps with teamwork. So don't be afraid. Again, there are people and programs available for you. Just walk through the door.
Thank you. Janna.
I would say that there's so much information out there that wading through it all can be really tough. So I think just to echo what Hellen said, it's just asking for help and guidance. There's four of us coaches who work here, and we're trying really hard to help our open clients right now to find the opportunities they're looking for. But we've helped people who are, graduating high school and it's their first job, or graduated university and realize that there's no job that fits what they thought they were going to be able to get with that new degree. The oldest client I've ever personally helped was 86 years old, and he found that he couldn't pay his bills anymore and he needed to go back to the workforce. We've helped parents who've been on parental leave, who haven't worked, and they've been raising children for 2 years or 10 years. And then we've also helped people who just aren't happy and want something else. So I think that, if you have a situation that you're coming from and you're looking to us for help, we've probably seen it before. So, we have resources and we can help match you up to those. So I think reaching out is the big thing that you can do at this point, because it is pretty overwhelming. All things considered. It's
always taking that first step that's the hardest thing, right? Taking that first step. But once you do, you'll be surprised at how much is available and how much assistance is actually there for people. Christina?
As much as everything is a little bit difficult right now and challenging, it's also a really good time to invest in yourself. A lot of great training opportunities are available online right now. We're in Petawawa, quite far away from most universities and colleges. However, right now, a lot of them are offering online programs. So it's a very unique opportunity to access maybe school that we wouldn't have been able to access. And I know it's overwhelming. So if you're looking into that, our coaches can help with that as well. So maybe take the time for some professional development, maybe a change in your career, and it can be a good opportunity.
Claudia, I'm going to end it with you. You're going to get the chance to get that last piece of advice in.
Well, great. So Hellen and Christina took the two that I had in my back pocket. So I'm going to say that don't lock yourself into your past experiences. There's so much to be said for transferable skills. That's one of the reasons that it's important to go to the coach and to work with them, because you may think that you have no supervisory skills when in fact some of what you were doing in a previous job is exactly that. And so transferable skills are a big thing. It allows us the flexibility to move within different jobs and careers, and tie that into what Christina said about professional development and that kind of stuff. I think it's so important. And finally, I just want to say to the military spouses that we do have, there are certain programs available from a national perspective too. So don't hesitate to reach out, call the center, and ask your questions. No question is a wrong question or a bad question. Just the fact that, like Hellen says, you put your foot in the door or you pick up the phone and call, because we're here to help. And rest assured, if we don't have the answer, we will certainly go out and find the best supports there or get the answer for you.
This is sort of a speak now or forever hold your peace moment. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to say before we end off here? We've got no questions coming in on the comments. So with that, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join us. Christina, can you just rattle through and let folks know before we end off if they have been inspired by any of this, if they have listened to the advice and this, now's the time I'm going to take advantage of this. How do they get a hold of us?
Well, you can pick up your phone right now and call 613-687-1717. If 10 people do that at the same time, you can also go to petawawaemployment.ca and get some info first. Or you can email Gord, es-program@pmfrc.org. And it's all, I think, in the comments. So we're available every day.
And there is also a Facebook group for the Petawawa Employment Service Center.
Right.
So we are going to put that down as well. So you can link into that. They share information about upcoming programs. They share information about job opportunities that we hear about. So make sure that you follow that as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Next week, we are going to be back and we are going to be talking about community engagement. We have 3 of our community engagement programmers joining us to talk about some upcoming programs. And the folks from Health Promotions are also going to be back to talk about what they have planned for June. Thank you all for joining us for our fireside chat. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you to our guests. I appreciate you all coming and sharing your expertise. Thank you.